The realness of boxing broken down to its core. The analysis.
I say it like it is, and I will continue to say it.
History.
I got milk, baby.
The sweetest of the science.
Boy, come on, man, stop playing.
The art of the science with the realest Justin Adams.
Let's get it on!
Welcome to the Art of the Science podcast. Here with the realest Justin Adams. Per usual, the internet streets. And y'all up from Chicago, where it's storming. You know what I'm saying? A lot of thunder and lightning going on right now. It's supposed to be raining throughout the weekend. Hopefully that doesn't, put a damper on mine or any of you guys. But yeah, it's storming out here in these streets. But yeah, man, we got a little bit of boxing to get into. Not too, just a little bit, just a tad. So first, we have the top rank cards that happened over the week, starting with Navarrette on Saturday, all the way to the Moloney Brothers on Tuesday and Thursday. We also have a Saturday card with Miguel Berchelt, the WBC 140-pound champion. 130-pound champion. And we also have some news being made, matches being pushed back, matches being postponed, matches being made official. Also, prayers up to Roberto Duran, Hands of Stone. He has been hospitalized with COVID-19, so hopefully he gets recovered from that. Also have an interview with Cynthia Conte, very fun interview. Very bubbly woman, has knowledge of what she wants to do, how she wants to handle things for herself and her time. Check out her podcast, The Real Fight with Cynthia Conte, on Anchor.fm. She is a writer for Ring Magazine as well. Works for RingTV, does some of their play-by-play when they've had matching cards for Fight Night Live. So it was great to have her on. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? You'll get to see the interview a little later after I give you all the realness of boxing. But come hold it down with your boy. Come chill. Come kick it. You know what I'm saying? If you hold it down per usual, let's get into the boxing.
What? No. What is this?
I'm the realest Justin Adams, and welcome to Aots, Art of the Science, the realest boxing podcast out here in these internet streets.
Well.
Realest boxing news, unbiased analysis, breakdowns, and previews.
The most diabolical this side of the Mississippi.
Don't forget to follow me at JA_the realest and Art of Sci Boxing, ARTOFSCI Boxing. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Go Google that shit. See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man.
Top Rank's been taking over people's TVs on ESPN. First, we'll start off with Saturday with Navarrette's title defense. Just a stay busy fight for him. He was able to win that quite easily, overmatched his opponent throughout the fight. Navarrette is one of these guys who's just trying to stay busy, trying to rack up his defenses for his title. They might look a little less competitive since his fight with Isaac Dogbo, but for right now, these are fights that just keeping him busy. Hopefully he's able to get higher competition within the near future. But Navarrette just staying busy, man. I think in the course of between now and about last year, I think Navarrette's fought 4 times or 5 times, which is unheard of for a lot of these fighters, especially champions. So Navarrette, keep it moving, bro. Let's get some of that competition up. See how talented you really are. You know what I'm saying? On Tuesday, Andrew Moloney, one of the brothers, he had his match on Tuesday, and it was actually his U.S. debut. It was his U.S. debut. I think these kids are both Australian, if I'm not mistaken. But Andrew, highly touted boxer for him and his brother both. But on Tuesday, Andrew actually lost. Joshua Franco came through with the upset win. Franco just filed a good fight. He just looked like the better fighter that night. You know what I'm saying? Like, Franco was able to put effective combinations together. And Andrew looked decent. Like, it wasn't like he was just out here being lazy. But when you talk about a fighter that was more active, a fighter that landed more effective shots, Franco was that guy. And his shots were so effective that Andrew went to the hospital, and afterwards they saw that he had perforated eardrums. So yeah, I've the couple fighters that I know here in Chicago, I've talked to them about those type of injuries, and they said, man, there's nothing worse than It's nothing worse than a ruptured eardrum because it feels like that the sound in the ears or whatever noise or whatever they're feeling in the air is very heavy and the pressure is very heavy. But yeah, Andrew gets his first loss as a pro here in America. His brother Jason shared the same fate in 2018. Jason made his U.S. debut in 2018 and he lost his U.S. debut. But Jason was able to redeem himself. His fight on Thursday, he thoroughly beat Baez and got to the point where the corner had to stop it in the 7th round. And yeah, it definitely should have stopped it. I mean, he showed that he came out to fight. He came out to show why he is highly touted and why that loss in America really doesn't hinder him as a talented boxer. But the Moloney brothers look real good. Like I say, Andrew with the perforated drums. Hopefully his eardrums are healing and doing well. Jason, like I said, got the win. Hopefully he's able to capitalize it, move up in the ranks, maybe a title shot soon. Oh, and with Joshua Franco's win over Andrew Moloney, Josh has a secondary WBA secondary title. We all know how the WBA is with the titles, man. They'll give you a secondary, treachery, quadrary. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna figure out a way to try to throw a belt on your name or something to show that you are ready to fight for the title. But the WBA title holder right now is Chocolatito. And I don't know if Moloney is ready for Chocolatito yet, but it'd be a good. I mean, I'm sorry, Josh Franco is ready for Chocolatito, and hopefully that match can be made in the future. But Franco took advantage of his night. That's why I gave him the gold star on Students of the Game last night, and hopefully, I'm saying, both these guys, the Moloney brothers, can keep showing why they're highly touted, and Joshua Franco could ride that momentum into hopefully what will be a championship run for him.
Can I help you?
Allow me to introduce myself.
Honor the Signs with the realest Justin Adams.
All right, man. Get out of that jalopy and let's talk some business.
Aots, bringing you that real boxing news, analysis, breakdowns, previews.
I am the Mac Daddy. I play it straight up, yo.
Come kick it with your boy every Friday. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud.
You get the hell out of my hood.
So some news in these boxing streets, you know what I'm saying? Some matches that were made, a couple that were postponed. But we'll start with the ones that have been officially rescheduled. So Dylan Whyte, like the WBC's #1 contender for umpteenth years, will take on highly competitive heavyweight Alexander Povetkin. And that match has been moved to August 22nd. It's going to be on the Zone. And this is the third date of this fight. So it was supposed to happen in May. If I'm not, I want to say May or April. And then it was supposed to happen in July. And now they finally pushed it back to August. And they're hoping to have some fans for that fight, which would be a decent fight to have fans in on because of the fact that these two guys are highly competitive heavyweights, and they're top 10 rated in the division, so it'll make up for a great fight. Kind of a toss up for me. I'm leaning more towards Povetkin, but I've also seen Whyte come out of like hairy situations and just take over a fight, so it's gonna be highly competitive for sure. And that fight, as of right now, is going to be put on the Zone. Also, you have two other heavyweights, Dane DuBois and DuBois and Joe Joyce. Both of those guys are heavyweight prospects from the UK. Their highly anticipated match has also been moved to October 24th. And Frank Warren stated that he wanted to have this fight in front of fans, which again, for this fight, it makes sense. I think he just wants to, make sure the live gate looks real nice. You know what I'm saying? People come back to boxing to a highly explosive fight, which is this is one that can be one of those fights. And I think the heavyweights, you know what I'm saying, those four heavyweights in particular can be, and couple might be or will be in the running for a title. You know what I'm saying? I think both of these fights will be good fights. Good fights. Jamel Herring had tested positive for COVID. However, his title defense has been moved back to July 14th. This will give Herring time to quarantine and be able to come back with a negative test result. According to Jamel, he's not truly sick per se. He considered himself an asymptomatic guy who has it but doesn't show any of the symptoms. He says he feels well. He says he feels like he could fight and box. And July 14th, we'll be able to see him, and I think it's still against Jonathan Oquendo, and another top-ranked fighter. So, hopefully he's able to recover from that and get back in the ring. Now, a couple matches have been postponed. One of them is the Eleider Alvarez and Joe Smith Jr. match. Highly anticipated light heavyweight fight. Well, not a title fight. Neither of these guys have titles. But these guys were supposed to fight on July 16th. But Eleider reported that he injured his shoulder during training camp, and they're going to push the fight back to late fall. That's the word for it now. But the Eleider Alvarez and Joe Smith Jr. looks like that's going to be a really good fight as well. Like, these are good fights, you know what I'm saying, as I'm naming them. And I truly think this Joe Smith Jr. and Eleider Alvarez will be a very entertaining fight. A lot of back and forth, a firefight, to say the least. Both guys hit with power. So that's another fight I will hopefully they're able to get rescheduled, and hopefully rescheduled before the year is out. And then an interesting story came out last week. I think this was right before or right after my show had ended last week, after the interview with Roberto Andrade. Amanda Serrano says that her match with Katie Taylor most likely is off because of a bogus purse. So Serrano, they knew that the fight had to be pushed back, Serrano and Katie Taylor. And I've always said that I thought Serrano would win that fight. I think Serrano still would win that fight. Katie Taylor, apparently the fight had to be pushed back because that fight was supposed to be in April. However, they went to Amanda, according to Amanda and her management, they came to her saying that they would have to push back the fight and have her make less because of all the finagling and moving around they had to do. And Serrano and her team were not happy with that. They wanted to make the exact same price they were offered, because the fight was still going to be amongst, I guess, during these pandemic times. But to be quite honest with you, I think Amanda Serrano has a point here where she shouldn't have to get less because of a fight that's being pushed back. And it's not anything under her control. It's nothing under Katie's control either, because Katie is still able to make her exact same person. Amanda can't. I can see why Amanda would step out of that. So I hope they're able to get it right. And the last time I checked, Eddie Hearn said that she was actually going to be able to get her full purse, and they were going to try to have that fight in mid to late August, is what was said. So hopefully that fight does, happen. I would love to see that fight. I think Serrano will win that fight. If I had any money and I want to put any money down on someone, I would put it on Serrano, definitely. And also, I want to see when I had to talk to Rick and Jessica, but when are they supposed to be fighting? I mean, I know Jessica's training; she's always in the gym. Her routine is airtight. You know what I'm saying? If she ain't working, she's working out. If she ain't working out, she's working or training or teaching those classes or leading those classes at Body Shot Boxing Club. Shout out to Body Shot. So I want to see when that fight with Breakus is going to happen, because that's a highly anticipated fight as well. And these are fights that were supposed to happen, bring us out this time of despair from the pandemic, from those things. But no, we gotta wait for these fights. We gotta wait for them. But it's all right though. I think these fights will happen, and I think they'll happen before the year's over with. Whether it's we watch it at home or we watch it, on ground. But I'm ready, man. I'm ready for these fights. These are great anticipatory fights, and I can't wait for any of them to happen. All right, so before we go into the interview with Cynthia Conte, there are two things I want to go over. There's a fight card going on this Saturday, and just a tad bit of news here. We'll do Roberto Duran first. Roberto Duran has been hospitalized with COVID-19. This was reported on Thursday, and he was hospitalized since I think Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning. But prayers up to him. Hopefully he could beat this out. You know what I'm saying? It'll suck to see another legend go out because of this pandemic, man, and it's tragic. It's tragic for the most part. But prayers up. Hopefully strength. He has the strength to beat it, fight it, and come back. You know what I'm saying? The WBC real big ambassador of those guys. So Road to Ram, man, prayers up, bro. And then we do actually have a boxing card that is coming on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? We got Miguel Berchelt taking on Eleider Valenzuela. And this look like, this fight's on ESPN at 10 o'clock tomorrow, June 27th. And if y'all know, June 27th is a celebration of music from my hometown of Houston, Texas. June 27th is it started from a freestyle that became one of the most iconic songs in Houston. And June 27th is held to a certain date for me. That's how I celebrate home, my music, my you know what I'm saying, what I grew up listening to. And yeah, man, June 27th. That's why I'm going to be celebrating it. But I also watch this fight as well. Like I said, it comes on at 10 o'clock on ESPN Central Time. And it's Berchelt, you know what I'm saying, one of the best guys at 130. And actually, this fight is a 135 pound fight for him for this week. So, you know what I'm saying, Berchelt staying nice, staying busy. Hopefully it becomes another showcase fight for him. And he's able to, go against the Oscar Valdez, who he's rumored to fight next, and those top guys. Those would be great fights to watch. So now I'm gonna show you the interview that I had last week with Cynthia Conte, writer of RingTV. She has her own podcast called The Real Fight with Cynthia Conte. And there are two. Watch them all. But the two in particular that I saw were the 88th and Hustle, which was the interview she had with Bob Arum. Great interview, by the way. Great series. I recommend that. Like I said, Anchor.fm. 88th and Hustle, and Second Chances with Sean Oakman. And I don't want to give too much because I want y'all to, go check that out. Check it out for yourselves. But like I said, Cynthia Conte, man, working woman in the business. Like I said, had a great time talking to her. We jumped on a lot of topics. I mean, she could talk forever. So most of the time, I just let her have it. You know what I'm saying? But don't forget to follow the social medias, JA_the Realest at Other Side Boxing. Also, don't forget, every Friday, new episode, new show. Thursdays, we go live for students of the game. Those videos are usually put out Friday morning. Actually, right now, it should be out on Facebook now. For me, you can catch my videos at YouTube and on Facebook Live. I do it on both, but, the YouTube channel is getting all the videos there. Facebook Live, or the show's Facebook page has all the video shows that we've done, and I still have all the audio podcasts from when we were a live show at CSR. But until next week, I'll let your boy, and here's your interview with Cynthia Conte.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who next?
Art of the Signs with The Realest.
I'm the best heavyweight champion of the world. I'm have WBC with me. I want who next?
You can follow Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. JA_the Realest. Art of Side Boxing. That's ARTOFSCI Boxing.
You're a regular from down the street. What are you doing?
I want who next?
I'll say this. First things first, how are you during these times? How are you doing? How are you going about things during this transitional time?
It's getting better. I mean, it took some time at the beginning because we didn't know what to do, but we knew that this is our new normal. And just hunker down and just do what you can at home and just thrive, be creative, think outside of the box. We're gonna see who's gonna be able to push through, and I mean, sadly, who wasn't able to, but it's just trying times for everyone, even till now. Like, we thought it would get a little better. It did. And then it's just, there's a lot of waves of emotion for the entire country, but it's all right. I just keep busy, doing my work. It's almost as if I'm working, like as if I'm attending fights, but I'm constantly reading, researching, boxers, since there's now live fights again. And also my new podcast. Yeah.
Right. So here, are you still in LA? Are you still out there in LA?
Yes.
So how did LA go about, with the lockdowns and the shelter in places? How was that? Because I know out here for Chicago, we were pretty much, I would say we were pretty cautious about having people out, you know. So how does it look like over there?
Well, watching you guys, because we followed behind you, but we kind of didn't. It was more because we're like, because my friends are from Chicago, and so we're watching it progress, just like, oh my God, it's worse. But LA, because we're so big, it's not like you and New York. You guys are all clustered together, but they did put us in shelter, and at times people, you know, they felt that their freedoms were being taken from them because they wanted to go to the beach, and I get it, but there is a sickness going around, whether people want to believe it or not. There's some people are dying from something, but so people did, and it was we did get stir crazy. You can only watch so much Netflix. You can only drink so much wine. I mean, not really, but
I'm just saying, though.
Yeah, and I was so tired of cooking. I'm like, oh my God, just
same thing.
I couldn't understand how I racked up so many pots and pans and plates, and I'm like, it's just me.
It's just me.
This. But and it got lonely at times. I mean, but it really did. It made me. I really appreciate. I'm grateful for what I've gotten out of this pandemic. I was able to find. I soul searched. I learned more about myself. I made more time for people that I never had time for because I was so busy working. I got to speak with them, not just on the phone and texting, but it was like FaceTime. You know, we use Zoom now.
Exactly.
So it's different that we have to just make do with what it is. But it's an ongoing struggle for everyone. It's, you know, everyone has their days, and we just kind of help lift each other, even still encourage each other of just even through work. Like, what are you editing? What are you working on? What can we talk about? But you know, it's different. It's different times, man. I can't believe it.
That definitely different, unique are definitely the words we can use for this. You know what I'm saying? So firstly, the first thing I think about is so first off, you got the new podcast, you know what I'm saying, the real fight. And the actual first episode I heard, it was not the Bob Arum one, which we'll get into later, because I got a couple things for that. But for the first one I heard was, I think it was Sean Oakman.
Yes.
That's the one I think is that your most recent one?
That's my most recent one.
Okay, yeah. So I listened to that one, and it's funny because you talked about how you met him at the Wilder fight, at the Wilder Fury, and it's like, what is a chance that you meet that type of person, or just a person of that nature? Because even you said yourself, you didn't know who the man was for the most part, but talking to him, it's like, wow, you learned a lot. Yeah. Now we have these times where we can revisit with those people and talk about those stories. So tell me how it feels to actually be able to see that come full circle, especially, we'll start with Sean first, because like I said, it started from nothing and it became something really nice.
Well, with Sean, I met him. He was in the media room, and Joe Santoliquito from Ring Magazine, one of the writers, and he's also the president of the Boxing Writers Association. He brought him into the media room, and he's known him since he was a kid. He's from Philly. So, I mean, he's known him since he was 10, and now Sean, I think, is 28 years old. So he's followed his career. He's followed his life of what's happened. And I had no idea who he was. When I first saw him, look, so Joe is short. Sean is very tall. So it's like that movie, Twins.
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, I don't know if he's a new boxer because I haven't seen him before. I haven't, you know, usually we would hear if there's a new heavyweight in town or what's going down. I go, maybe a football player. He looks like a football player. Sure enough, Joe's like, can you talk to him, interview him? I'm like, okay. I'm like, I really don't know who this guy is, but we'll just chat. And that's what I like, is that sometimes if I don't know, I love to like get their story unfolded. But little did I know, like we just talked about boxing, you know, the fights, and then, you know, he's obviously an Eagles fan and I'm a Patriots fan. And it just happened to be the game the week after when we came back and Philly, Patriots won. Like they came back from that game. But that was back in November. So we were just chatting about that. And then at dinner, it was like for the WBC, World Boxing Council, Joe said, I know that you don't know anything about him. I'm like, oh, he's incredible. He's great, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, here's his story. And I was sitting there at dinner. I'm like, and he left to go to sleep. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
I've been handed a gem right here. What can I do with this?
Yeah,
is a lot.
and it's just kind of like, I didn't know how to react. I'm like, no way. Are you serious? And when I saw his demeanor, the way he spoke, and just, he was so happy knowing that this just happened.
Right.
I mean, it was a 3-year process, but it just, like, when the ruling came down, I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very recent. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that was what, 2016? We're what, 2020?
2000.
Very fresh. Yeah. And so it was mind-boggling. And then so, we would chat like on Instagram, and I said, oh my God, I saw your story. And he's like, it's crazy, right? And I knew I had my podcast in mind, and I knew that I didn't want to just focus solely on boxing. Like, even the name of my channel used to be The Real Fight Girl, and that's my Instagram name. So yeah, exactly. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself in just like fighting, but because I love human interest stories. I mean, and everyone has a story. You have a story. I have a story. It just happens to be that he's a football player, or people are boxers or a promoter. Right. But I'm like, I really just want to tell his story, and I want him to say it, because when you read something like that, you automatically start taking sides, and I'm not there to take sides. I'm there to just reveal your story. You tell your truth, and they have their truth, and it's always three sides to a story.
Right. Exactly.
And it was inspiring just reading it and doing my homework on him. And when he told it, and even when I go back to edit it, or even do timestamps, and I did video footage for it. Right. It was just because I needed the pictures, because some people were like, who's Sean Oakman? And some people knew. And then, it's kind of like, he was known for certain things. He was known for being Baylor, the captain, and the guy with the jersey that like is cropped, or he did that Sean Oakman meme that went viral. And then also the sexual assault charges. I mean, it was just, there was a plethora of things that I'm like, wow, he needs to tell his story. And I know that he wants to help other people. And that's what he learned throughout his own process of his own healing, because people would reach out to him. And so I wanted to give him an outlet and a platform to also share his story and allow people to know that you're not alone. They could be suffering the same thing, or, something. And it's just someone to talk to, or just know that someone's there for you.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, we are all human, right? So there's always something there. There's always something that makes you unique, right?
Yeah.
Now, not to play on it as if, because I mean, what happened to him is not good, but at the same time, he was able to overcome those obstacles, and he's still overcoming them.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see what you mean by the human interest side of it. But so I want to go to something that you yourself made public. Like, you were like, I want to be able to talk to Bob Arum. I want to be able to get this. Now, you score the project. First of all, how did you feel when you was like, okay, Bob Arum, I'm finna have this whole project with the 88th and Hustle. How did the process start?
Well, the process, actually, the type of interview I wanted to do with Bob has been 2 years in the making. Right. And it just happened to be like, I wanted to sit down and, just like a 2020 type of interview. Mm-hmm. But it just happened to be, we were in a pandemic. We couldn't leave the house. And I was going through my list of who am I going to interview, because I literally thought of my podcast, because there was the gentleman that co-produced a Break Media, Jay Chaudhry. Mm-hmm. He put it out on Twitter. Whoever needs help setting up a YouTube channel, a podcast, anything like techie. I said, oh, a podcast. I don't know what to do with podcasts. Like, I have ideas, but I don't know how to. I'm no tech genius.
Right.
And I better be after this pandemic. Damn it.
I'm telling you. Telling you. New hustle.
But I remember I had all these lists, because I have access to many boxers and just the people I've interviewed and the PR people. And immediately I'm like, Bob Arum. Oh my God, let's just. So I text him, and I'm thinking, I didn't even go to the PR. I'm like, let me just text Bob. And
Right.
he was like, yes, Cynthia, set it up, hurry it up, and tell me when. I'm like, oh. And when Jay found out, he's like, I want to co-produce this, because obviously that's a mega interview
Right,
to
exactly.
be part of. And for me, I said, okay, like I don't know how to do a podcast, but I know how to interview, I know how to research, I know how to ask questions and tell the story. And I had it in my mind of how I want it, since we're like, it's a podcast, so there's no visuals. You have to visually think about it and let him tell the story. And
Right.
since his was all about 5 decades of who he was before he was in boxing and how he led up to it, a lot of people didn't know. And I guarantee you learned something, a couple things about him.
Definitely did. No, definitely did. Like the funny thing is, honestly, like I'm okay. So I'm 32. So growing up, like I didn't see prime Aram. You get what I'm saying? Like prime Bob. Like I would love to see. Like just think if Bob Arum existed now, but he was Eddie Hearn's age. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like not the 88-year-old that we have now that is still
still hustling. He's
you know
still
what I'm saying?
hustling hard.
That's what I'm saying. So if he's hustling now, how did he do it like in the 30s? I mean, when he was 30, when he was 40, when he was, you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about a time that was more of a impactful time with Ali, with those things, even working with Don King, those type of things like that. That's 50 years worth of.
It's gold. It's like it's such a gem, and and for him, that he's very, very sharp still, like whip smart. Even when there's times that I would the facts were wrong, he's like, no, Cynthia, you're wrong. I'm like, well, I'm just saying. He's like, well, I know it because I lived it. But it's like he's like, he remembers it as if it was yesterday. And I remember I asked him, I go, God, you just remember everything. He's like, and I go, how come you don't ever talk about this? He's like, well, why? I talk about it when you guys ask me, but it's kind of like whatever. Even how it was weird because all the stars aligned, how that all happened. 8 is my favorite number. It's a very powerful number in my life for this career, for this particular career that I have, that I'm in boxing. And this was just maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it's been very pivotal for me. Then when I asked him, he's like, pick a day. I picked a day and he's like, oh, it was like Monday or Tuesday, and it was like a Thursday. So I had 3 days to prepare 5 decades, and I'm sitting there, holy bananas. And it's not like I knew his life before, so I really had to like hunker down. I had my notes were like this, and my notebook, my hand almost fell off from writing, but it was one of the most amazing journeys learning about him. And it was just memorable knowing this was my very first podcast, and he's going to tell his story, and not many people know it. I mean, there's not even I don't think there's a documentary about him. He doesn't have a book out yet, but he said he should just may as well write a book soon. But it was crazy. And I'm thinking, even the music, that very first song that you heard, that's a song he was born the day of. So I'm like, it really set the precedent and the stage of where I wanted to go and the musical journey of his life. And I really hope that people were able to get that message that I was trying to convey by him saying it. And it's just, even the day that he interviewed, 2 days before that was his anniversary in boxing. I didn't know that. The thing was already said. It was just kind of like, oh, and how he celebrated it is, he watched the Tiger King.
He watched Tiger King.
That's not something I was expecting him to say. Like,
not at all.
I was like, Tiger King.
Like that's what we watching. You haven't watched it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's funny. He was like, oh yeah, he gave his prediction on who he thought offed him. And I'm kind of like, this is so crazy to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for people who haven't seen it, I'm not going to say it, but Bob Arum watched it.
Bob Arum watched it, and he gonna tell you. I watched it, right? Yeah.
So and unfortunately, like a lot of my podcasts cannot be an audio series because that's technically, it's a mini documentary. It's like, I was kind of like, shoot, it's an hour and 30 minutes. That's like a movie, but I go, I can't give it 30 minutes. Like I cannot give his life. I can't disrespect his life in 30 minutes. I mean, what 1 decade was basically 20 minutes. And so I go, you know what? Audio series are for like really special people. Not special, but like their story is very like, it's very impactful and people know them, like really, really know them. And that will go down in history. And I have an audio series in the works right now. I was hoping to drop a trailer today, but it's hard because of COVID pandemic. Like a lot of people, you know, it's just, and I get it.
A lot of moving pieces.
It's a lot of moving pieces, but you know, I was editing that down for YouTube also.
Right.
And I just, every time, and I know this person very well, but when I learn the story, I'm like, are you serious? And I'm just kind of like, so you may know the person for a certain thing, right, but then you don't even really know them before, and you're just
any of that.
Holy shit. But and that's what I love, is just unfolding their stories, and I learn, and I'm just as amazed when I'm learning it, and when you hear it after. The way you react is the way I'm already reacting, because I'm like, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, but you know, there's some of the typical podcasts that are like an hour that, you know, just a general podcast. And, but now I'm going to try to do more YouTube, so I have more content, and it drives the story. But with audio series, like, depends. Like Bob, I didn't need one. We already knew. I didn't need to put a picture of JFK or Muhammad Ali. Like that's already said and done.
Right.
Yeah. So it's my passion project. It's something that I knew I wanted to drop a podcast. I didn't know when, and I'm really blessed, and I'm grateful that I've been able to really thrive and really push myself to push my limits. Even though my hands hurt from editing so much, my forearm, like I'm breaking down in quarantine at the same time too, because we're not used to editing 12, 13, 15 hours a day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding. It's gratifying, you know.
It is.
Especially when you see the finished product, and it's funny to me, because now thinking about it, it's like after you finish the whole 88th and Hustle, you look at it and it's like that's not even the half of it.
I know.
And that's not even half of it. So much on the cutting floor, you know.
And it was so great that I had old school boxing writers, you know, people that I've read before I was even in this business at all. Like I would just read all their articles, and they're texting me or DMing me. They're like, "This is amazing, Cyn," and I'm like, "Thank you." Like, just it was gratifying. Like my soul. My heart was full, because I put everything I had into that in 3 days, and I just couldn't, like, when I was done, I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I just kind of laid here, and then I cried, and then I'm like, I did something good. I did something good in the world, and I know this will circulate in history. Like, people will always refer to this audio series as some kind of historical fact, like, oh, did you know that Bob used to watch Tiger King? And this is like maybe 50 years down the line later. It's
exactly.
Like, oh. And so I felt like I contributed something mega, and I'm really, really happy to it.
You definitely have. It you know, when the exposure of it is going to be better about it too, because now when they start to see these certain things that, like I said, you can learn from anybody, anything.
Yeah.
And this is great, especially for, like I said, first, I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I had Bob Aaron for my first, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I kid you not, when my very first interview, when my show debuted, it was a guy named Michael McVady, and he was a chiropractic doctor, but and he competed in the Chicago Golden Gloves in the Open.
Oh.
Exactly. So.
Did you know that?
No.
Isn't that crazy? You
I didn't
find
know
out
that.
their little gems. You're like, what?
Like, so, and it's funny because the way I met him is through just randomly walking in the street. I went to an amateur boxing event at a bar, and I think it was near Wicklow Park, I think. But anyway, point is, when I saw him, you know, he wore a gym shirt of a guy that I knew in class. So I was like, oh, I've heard of this gym. We started talking, and then I bring him on the show, and I'm like, man, no one knows who this guy is, but you know what? At the end of the day, I want people to watch and listen. Yeah. So as we're talking, he talks about these chiropractic practices, and I'm like, wait, whoa, time out. We're talking about you popping people's backs? We talking about you doing this? I was more concerned about you going into the Golden Gloves. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then after that, I'm gonna have hip surgery, and I'm gonna go back in for the following year. And that
The
was
box?
yes, yes,
After hip surgery?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Now he made it second. Now he didn't make it to the finals, but the fact that he was able to get back in and just do it, period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's their fight right there. That's awesome.
And so I bring that full circle, and it's like people wouldn't even know this man, and this man likes to like record himself singing at the beach. So it's like,
oh, that's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So
like
all these different little things. So I can understand it. It's a lot. And that's just a person that I met walking. This is a guy that you researched in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? And whatever outside knowledge you had of the form, and you had to put together 50 decades worth of him.
Yeah. Yeah. And luckily, luckily, you know, people are like, God, you guys seem like you're besties. I go, you know what? Bob and I we're friends. Like I don't hang out with him, but when I see him, it's just like, he doesn't mind. We'll sit there. I remember I was on a live stream with him, and I go, Bob, you know, I'm on a live stream, and he's like talking mad shit. I'm like, not like of boxers, like their fights of like, I don't like that matchup. And I go, Bob, you know, you're live like right now. He's like, I'm like, okay. And then, you know, I don't know if you saw the interview of Ring, because he's very open about his edibles. You know, that's why. And I remember I asked him, it was during the Oscar Valdez, Frampton, it was like a private media lunch. I go, how do you do it? You travel all over the world. You're 88 years old. You're never jet lagged. You're not tired. And he's like, Cynthia, this is how you do it. You get sativa or indica. I'm like, I don't even know this. Like, he's like, it's an edible. I'm like, I don't even know the strain. And he's giving me the definition of these guys of like what to do. He's like, yeah, take it. Yeah, make sure you get on the plane, but don't take it too early because they might have it delayed. So you might have to get off the plane, and it's not good. And then he just goes through these things, and he's like, and you're good. You sleep. I go, oh, but I like to drink, you know, some wine. He's like, oh, then you can have I always have a nice little martini or something like that. And I'm like, I can't believe this. And I always I made a joke. I go, he's like, we should do it. And and I go, I think we should do a podcast or a video of like tripping with Bob Arum.
Exactly. And I bet that'd be love.
I bet that'd be love
right
there.
know,
and I'm able, I guess maybe I'm able to do that because you know, I ask really off the cuff questions. I'm very unconventional, but I also like to get to know a person as opposed to like, I already know what you're going to say because every other reporter has asked the same damn question.
Same question.
In the conference. So, but also Bob and I we are genuinely friends, and we just talk and laugh and just have fun. And so, but it's really good. It's and I'm really blessed that it's Bob Arum. It's like
exactly like that. It's
Bob Arum.
All else fails is Bob Arum. You know.
So when he did it, I was kind of like, when he's like, hurry up, and I'm just so tired. Like I'm just so bored of there's no boxing, and there was nothing yet. This is like maybe a month into pandemic.
Oh so, wow, yeah, everything is shut down.
So we really didn't know what was going on, and you have to remember, he was the first one to cancel a fight. I was supposed to go to China for the Ramirez-Postol fight.
Oh, right.
And I was like, my ticket, I was supposed to leave the following week, and I'm like, I don't think I can go because there's this thing called coronavirus, and that's when it all happened. And he's had to cancel the most cards. Like Victor Postol, like they got canceled twice.
Exactly, I was gonna say.
So, but he knows it, and but he's just a happy dude, and I love it. Such a sweet man.
Yeah, I remember when Top Rank was here for Chicago. They were here in Chicago for I think it was a Conlon card. Okay. And I remember seeing him and he had the media meet at shout out to Bob. He actually gave me media credentials to cover it. So I was like, man.
Congrats.
Went to I think it was Harry Carey.
Okay.
And I remember seeing, he asked a question. It was him, Mick, and what's his name? Abel Sanchez's fighter, Alex Salcedo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he was there because I interviewed him too, and Bob was on it. This and this. It is, and it's people that surround him, and he's very attentive. And it's like, man,
Yeah.
I've seen other 88-year-olds not even, they like, I'm not even dealing with all this. But
yeah, they don't want to even leave the house. He sits at the beginning of his card till the end. And I remember I said, I always see you from the beginning of the very first bout, and there could be like 12 cards.
Right.
I go, you never leave. I go, I'm like, don't you have to pee?
Right.
Like,
Don't you have to do something?
He's like, you know, I've been running into that issue lately, but it's so funny because I'm thinking, he's 88 and he sits there and he said, he goes, those are the guys that you have to watch because they're the upcoming stars. They're the ones, like, no one's in the stage, no one's in the audience, and I signed them for a reason. So I want to see how they perform, if they're going to be good or not, or even the guys that we bring in to fight them as the B side. You never know. Like this last fight against Greer, I don't know if you saw it, Greer versus Plania.
Yeah, Plania with them hooks. Those
those left looping hooks, and they didn't know about, like, they knew about him, but they didn't know he could fight like that.
Exactly.
And so I told them, I go, you need to either co-promote him or something. I go, he's Filipino. I go, you know, he's
you
trying
to show love,
Manny, but I go, he's got something special, and he can be developed. And I would love to see a rematch between Greer and Plania, like, because Greer just, you know, it was too late. Right. And Plania just came out of nowhere. And so I think it would be a really good matchup, a rematch. And I want to see that. But it's just like that. He didn't expect Plania to be, you know, no one saw those hooks. Everyone was like, what is that?
What is that whipping in the, and it's like, and what's funny is though, it's like Greer, and I don't know if you saw it, but I know when every time Plania will fake the jab, and then you know Greer would hurry up and cover, but you didn't see that hook coming at all. It's like it came from the other side of the room. It's like
it was almost like a Gumby arm, you know. It twerked out so far, and it looked like his shoulder dislocated out of his socket.
Right.
So like it was weird. I'm like, how did he do that? But those are the things. I mean, there's a lot of upsets yesterday. I mean, yesterday, that guy
Clay, what's his name? Clay Collard. What's up with this cat?
I mean, just watching, he was a UFC fighter, so I go, he's relentless coming forward, and he's like must-see TV. I would love to see him fight again, but he took some time off because that was Kaminsky, I think that was his name, the opponent. His CT scan was good, but that was a brutal fight. But these are the times that you know, guys like that, when you think they're gonna win your A side, and then you see something special in the B fighter, you're like, whoa, it's another gem. It's another.
I need that. I need those on my squad, please. I need all those fighters. You know, it's crazy. But and then when you think about it with Top Rank, who's the other fighter? I can't think of his name. Navarrete, Emmanuel Navarrete.
Oh yeah, he's fighting soon.
Right, and he fights often. And this is a guy that came out of nowhere. And then he won the title, and I mean he won it handedly. Yeah. It was like, oh, he always comes forward. And then next thing you know, he has like 4 fights within like months of each other. And it's like, man, I think they really got onto something with these fighters. And it seems like, even though they talk about PBC having a deep stable, they talk about Golden Boy having these guys, but it's like Top Rank has always produced quality fighters. You know what I'm saying? Even from like Mean Machine, the guy that fought Crawford.
Yep. Yeah.
He's a decent fighter, you know, and these are talented guys. So I'm always up for a card. I'm just waiting on the Loma and Teofimo fight to happen. That's all I'm waiting for.
I just read that it might happen hopefully September 19th, and they were talking about Allegiant Stadium and like maybe put 2,500 people. But now I just read today that they're looking to do it at MGM in the conference center, at least have a crowd. Or maybe in the MGM, the Grand Garden Arena. You know, everything is ever changing. It's just, you know,
fluid.
We saw the numbers. Fluid. It's so fluid. The numbers are up in California, Vegas. I mean, you guys.
The anxiety of it all, you know.
I know. But at least we're getting fights, and they want to fight, but you know, we see the dangers of like even the testing. The guy's fight yesterday got canceled because of his co-manager.
Right.
So he was the main guy, and you just never know. And it's sad. I don't, you know, these are people's careers and people's health. So Do you guys want more anything? Do you guys want to live like life sort of normal? Do the right thing, guys. People, just
Please,
be
please.
courteous of people and their health.
Right. I'm worried about the future. I want things to happen in the future. Not right now. It's all good. I can wait. You know, I can wait.
Yeah.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who next?
Art of the Signs with the Realest.
I'm the best heavyweight champion in the world. I'm have WBC with me. I want who next?
You can follow Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. JA_the Realest. Art of Sci Boxing. That's ARTOFSCI Boxing.
You're a regular from down the street. What are you doing? I want who next?
Now, before you started working for the Ring, you were a reporter locally for the city?
No. So what happened? I used to work in news. I was a producer, and
okay.
did some for Channel 5, and I did like live weather hits and traffic because my boss knew I wanted to be on camera, but I produced, and but I learned how to write and write taglines, and it was news, very, very different from boxing because news is sad and boxing can be sad too, but and then I ended up, because I was working late graveyard shifts, and I remember my doctor said, you need some more vitamin D. I'm like, don't you know the color of my skin? I need more sun. And it was, it's one of those jobs that you have to love. And I did, just not the hours. Right. Then I owned 2 gyms.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah. And one of them, my last gym, we had to shut down because the city bought us out. But then Abnormades, they fought out of there. They trained out of there. And
yeah, I saw that.
So I was kind of like, you know what? When I came back, I moved to New York, and I came back after 6 years. I go, I need to find something. What can I do? I didn't want to go back to news and work those hours. And the job fell in my lap, but not per se that it was handed to me. It's like I created it into what it is right now. It was kind of like, here, just go do it. But if I didn't really, love it and own it and make it my own, then it wouldn't be to where it is today. And I've been sprinting ever since then.
Exactly. You took that opportunity and ran with it.
And
that's awesome. And that's awesome.
I really did.
Now, did you watch the fights when you were younger? Did you watch boxing or anything before this came?
It's funny, not really. I mean, I would watch them, but I wasn't like an avid fan like my dad. I'm not one of those. I was a performer. I sang, I danced, I did pageants. So I didn't have time to watch. But I played sports, but I didn't have time to watch fights or any sports. Because I was busy as a kid. My parents always wanted to keep us busy. And it's weird because I thought about that the other day, and I think about that often because, when you're a kid, you're like, I just want to play with my friends, or I just want to, I just want to be out. I'm really grateful for the things that my parents have put me through. It sounds so cliche, but it's very true. And, but I did start watching boxing, really start boxing. I mean, watch it when I was in my 20s. Okay. But I was, VHS tapes, beta tapes, and I was like, whoa. And just, and the fight that everyone always asks me what got me, it was, it's strange enough. It's Tyson versus Razor Ruddock too. That one just hit my soul in this way. I'm like, and I saw the first one right before that, and I was like, oh, this is good. But the second one, I'm like, damn.
this was hot out here.
So, right, exactly. But it's and ever since then, it's just I love the way the ring IQ of just why would one fighter do that and then the other fighter would do that? It was it's a mental game. So I'm thinking, it's not choreography, but it is in a weird way. You have to know.
It's muscle memory and movements, right? Yeah,
and so it's just It I don't know. It's this weird thing that I do. And even with my trainer, because I box, not professionally, but I've always done it to stay in shape. And with my trainer, we would watch the fights, and he was one of Freddie Roach's right-hand guys. Now he moved to Dallas. Oh. But we would be in the ring at Wildcard, and I'm like, okay, this fight happened last night, and then why did so-and-so do this? And so we would play it out, and then he's like, okay, instead of doing that, he could have just done this, take a sidestep, and then, what's it called, slip and then throw left hook. So it's like I don't know. It's just I do that in my head. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely, especially when you're watching fighters that you enjoy watching. It's like, oh, that could have been, this could have happened. Because even when you watch the local cards, you know what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure LA has a great local scene. I know out here, they've had a few fights where there's a women's champion now, Jessica McCaskill. She's
I
from
love
here.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she's from here. So I got to interview her and her manager and trainer, Rick. And those two, first of all, they're goofballs. They're hilarious. But Jessica is serious about her craft. You know what I'm saying? Like, she really wants to do it. And watching her locally, it was funny to me because it's like when she would come out, there's this buzz.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's this atmosphere, like, it's electric. Even after the loss to Katie Taylor, it's like her following still became bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you fight Katie Taylor because she lost. I mean, she won to. I met her during the women's convention for WBC. Her first name, but it's La Panteria, and she was champion. She's the one that Jessica beat for the belt.
Oh,
Farias.
Yeah, Farias. Yeah.
So it was such a good fight, and these girls are throwing like they throw.
Yeah, they're throwing.
And so when Jessica fought Katie, I'm like, okay, let's see what they both have. And of course, if you lose and you lose to one of the greats or one of the best ones right now until someone maybe dethrones her or not. But I like it. I'm a lot of people don't like women's boxing, but it's here, dude. I'm sorry. It's here to stay. You got some champions. You got girls that could probably, they fight better than some guys. Sorry.
That's just what it is.
They do.
That's just what it is. And that's funny too, because with Jessica out here, it's funny because, like we just talked about Josh McGear from here, Adrian Granados from here. You know what I'm saying? You start going through the lines, but then you start thinking, who are some of the more accomplished, fighters to come from Chicago? And Jessica is already pretty much up there.
Yeah.
And what can we do to bring the attention to women's boxing though? Because there are great fights, and I think a lot of people just don't know. And I don't.
They don't know. They don't know.
Is it a matter of want, or is it a matter of?
Well, it's always a lot of guys and some females. They're like, I just don't like seeing women hit each other. There are even some coaches that I know. They're like, I just don't like women boxers. Like, it's like my daughter getting hit in the ring. But I go, maybe if you remove that, even though, yes, some of them are mothers. Like there's Bang Bang, Louisa Houghton, Bang Bang from Australia. She has 2 kids. She's really tiny. She's WBC, I think, atomweight champion.
Oh, wow.
Like atomweight. I'm like, what's atomweight? I'm like, she's tiny, but she is fast. Like she can bang. She lost her title the first time to, oh God, and it was a bad decision. Like Bang Bang should have won. Her face, her nose is broken. There's a picture of me and her on my Instagram, and she has a black eye. And I was like, oh my God. But she can crack. She's fast, and it's just, guys are just, they're closed-minded to it. I mean, until like they want to see an all action out war, just like a guy. Like we like savage fights. We like brutal fights. Some people don't like a boxer because it seems so boring and technical. But that's when you really have to use your mind. And a lot of women don't necessarily brawl.
Right.
But, it's just they need to see more of the women. They need to add more women on the cards. There was even, who was it? The Katie Taylor versus it was on that card when McCaskill won, I believe. I can't remember.
The last Katie.
And I said it, and I told Eddie Hearn, I go, Katie did not win that fight. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. I can't remember her name for nothing. But I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
she shouldn't have won.
Whoa, she was just relentless. The girl kept throwing. I can't remember her name, but she was. Oh, now it's gonna bother me.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me want to look for it because it's like.
Yeah, but, and everyone made their opinions. I mean, everyone.
Was it like Pursoon or
Yes, Pursoon.
Yeah.
Delphine Pursoon.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
And it was heartbreaking that you see her crying, and then they're like, "Oh God, girls cry." I'm like, "Guys cry too. Like, stop it.
Right.
You know? Stop that." I see a guy crying in the corner because he lost, but they don't follow him, you know, into the freaking dressing room as if it's like a reality show. That I had a problem with. I'm like, DAZN, don't do that. That's not cool. But
that is. Yeah, I don't think that's cool at all.
It felt like MTV Cribs where they cry, or a reality contest, and I'm thinking, this is real life. Like, she should have won.
She should have won.
And I kept saying, Eddie, rematch. It needs to have a rematch. But
I don't know. I don't know, Sid. I don't know, Sid.
Olympics. She lost in the Olympics, or the Olympic trials.
Oh, for real?
Weird, yeah. Because we thought, okay, well, she did really well, but I think she got, I don't know if she got knocked out, but she didn't win. So it was, that was heartbreaking.
I'm telling you. And for you to catch it and started running with it, like, now you're going to certain cards. Now you're seeing these fights play out in front of you. And I know it's, because for me, I know one of my first live events, I was super excited. And it was like, first card, you know what I'm saying? We're watching 4-rounders right now. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and some of those girls can fight. Like, for HBO, it was their last show. And 360, Tom Loeffler's promotion, Tom Loeffler 360 Promotions, he had the card because Cecilia Brækhus was on it, Clarissa Shields. I mean, it was an all-female card. A lot of people had a lot of shit about it. But I go, because it's HBO, it was their last one. And I
thought it was a decent card.
It was decent. I go, it's like, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, this Cecilia Brækhus is undisputed for so many years.
Right.
I don't know how many times, I forgot how long she's had her reign, but, and it was crazy for me because I hosted it. I called the weigh-ins. And I'm like, I remember they're like, I was calling the undercard weigh-ins, and then Michael Buffer was supposed to call the main. And then I get a call an hour before. I'm like doing my makeup at home before I'm ready to leave. They're like, so change of plans. You're doing the main card. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, you're doing the main card weigh-ins. I go, what happened to Michael Buffer? He's like, well, he's now DAZN. So I'm like, oh shit. Like talk about pressure. And I remember all the heads of HBO were sitting there and were live streaming, and it was like live. And I'm sitting there like, I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life. Because I mean, I know how to call an undercard, but I'm just like, the main freaking card. Like, I wasn't prepared for this.
This is it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I had cards, and I remember I was talking, and my card fell, and I was like, oh my God, I'm just like, I'm gonna cry. And I remember my girlfriend said, don't worry, Sin, if you mess up, just keep going. Like, you know your stuff. Like, just, you're gonna be all right. And for some reason, and they're like, just speak from your heart. And I sure did. And I just remember, I go, look, I don't know why I'm up here. It should not be me. Michael Buffer is the one with the golden voice. He's supposed to be announcing this. And I go, for me to be closing out the final HBO show is, it's a blessing, and it's also sad because of 40 years of boxing. And I'm like, I'm the last person to close out the final weigh-in. And,
right.
But it was so touching to see, like, some guys were like, why would we go watch it? I go, why not? I go,
why not?
Why not? I go, it's boxing. I go, if you're gonna support boxing, you support boxing. What if your daughter wants to be a boxer and she's good? You can't shoot down anyone's dream.
No.
But and it was interesting. It was like I got to even call the fights, the undercards, with Kevin Kelly, Flushing Flash, and I still
I saw that picture.
Oh my God! And I'm sitting here fanning out. I'm like, can we talk about Prince Nassim's fight? Like, can we just keep going back? And the crazy thing with him and with that fight, with those fights during the HBO, he would show me, because I mean, when I would fight, it's it's Orthodox. He's Southpaw, so he's like, do this, and we're doing hands as we're doing the broadcast. And so he's always showing me, and he's like, think like this as a Southpaw. And he would teach me that on air. I'm like, this is incredible. So, and it's, I'm blessed. And then even for the 360 cards, the club shows, hopefully whenever you come back out here, Tom Loeffler throws these great club shows at the Avalon in Hollywood. Sadly, we had to cancel that one, But the last one, George Navarro had Daz Dillinger walk him out, and from Dogtown, it was so dope. Oh my god, it's in a club. It's a club nightclub scene, and the fights, it's just like some knockouts, and Doug Fisher from Ring, the editor, one of my bosses, we call the fights together, and I host, and it's just kind of like, it's incredible. To see the fights and then the girls fighting and everyone just cheering. And I'm like, that's what they need. And the local crowds, that's when Justin McCaskill, you got to have your hometown crowd come support you. That's why have more fights in your city, as opposed to like, Jessica's not going to go fight in like Wyoming, or Kansas or somewhere that they're not from. We don't know who, like, it works for Terrence. It works for Terrence to fight in his state.
In Omaha.
Yeah, in Omaha. So we can't put him in like, I don't know, some random place that no one cares about or no one even knows.
Exactly.
But that's how you build your fighter. That's how you build the females and build even young prospects. Get the people in your own town, your own state, your own city, and the surrounding states that they can travel to, and they'll know.
So work for Ring Magazine. How long did it take you to actually be like, you know what, this is, because the Ring Magazine has a lot of history behind it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, so it's
I've always read Ring magazines, not since I was a kid, but I've seen them and I would read them. Mm-hmm. And, it's just kind of like, oh, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, like those kind of greats. But then I knew it was like the Bible of boxing, because guys that I've dated were big boxing fans. And so, I mean, one of my exes had, I'm not even kidding, like a full wall. I'm talking
of covers,
like thousands and thousands and thousands of magazines that I sat there, because I'm so like OCD. I put in chronological order. So when I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, this is like 1930s, 1940s. Like it was so old. And we're coming up to almost 100 years with the Ring.
Right.
So it was, and for me to know that I'm part of that, it's like, it's kind of surreal. I'm kind of like, but it's been a very good journey for me, and I'm still loving it, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning my craft every day.
Exactly. And that's all we can do, especially with the time that we have.
Yeah.
But so I go back to the two gyms in LA. And you said one of them was Valdez came out of. How does that translate into it all? How does it feel, see Oscar go from the kid from the gym that to now he,
it was
career.
Surreal, because my first gym, it was like a gym, like a regular gym, and it had a boxing ring. And then we sold that because my mom passed away, and so I was living in New York, and my sisters and we couldn't run a gym with, we were mourning from my mom, and then we sold it, and the person who was buying all our equipment was like, well, have you guys thought about getting to another gym? We're like, I don't know. And I go, well, maybe. And so we thought about it, and we looked at it, and we're like, you know what, let's do it. And that wasn't too long. And that's when I remember seeing Oscar, and I'm like, I know you. Like, I go, that's Oscar Valdez. I'm like, holy shit. And then even Abner Mares, and I would see them when they were, I forgot which fights that they were preparing for. And then when we shut down, like, I didn't see them anymore, obviously. But when I remember working their fight, I went up to them. I go, do you remember me? He's like, yeah. And then they see me holding a ring mic. And so it's funny that they saw how my thing unfolded, and then seeing them in the ring. And I go, I remember you. Like, I see you. Like, I know that you didn't want to do some of those workouts because I was sitting there running. And I'm like, damn, that looks hard. Like, they're getting their ass kicked over there. I'm like, I'm going to sit over here.
And they're
like, why don't you come try this? I'm like, nope. I'm good over here. You guys can stay over there. But it's, it's surreal to see that, because it's like, I see them flourishing. I see them blossoming. And even interviewing Oscar not too long ago, when he had that fight against Adam Lopez, like last minute. And, but after the jaw, like, I had to ask him how he felt. His jaw was broken after the Scott Quigg fight. He had I mean, he was sewn shut for months. So it's weird to see that. And, but it's, you know, that's part of everyone's journey. And I love to see how people come out of, you know, whatever they're doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna go to a certain event. You and Al Bernstein co-hosted the 2019 Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes.
How was that?
Oh
How
my
was that
God.
whole experience?
Oh my God. When I was first asked, I thought it was a joke. I'm like,
stop playing with me.
And then I didn't know who my co-host was because they're like, oh, we're not sure yet. And when I found out who it was, I about died. I'm like, are you serious? Because I interviewed him one time at another Hall of Fame, like in 2017, at the Montebello one, the Quiet Canyon, and he was being honored. And I remember I was sitting there, I go, I'm interviewing, I'm like, I'm really having a boxing geek moment. I go, I love you. I'm like, I'm a huge fan. And he didn't know me. And he's like, I've seen your stuff. You're really good. I'm like, oh my God. I go, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
He said that. Al Bernstein said that.
And, you know, I still geek out. I mean, I have my fanning out moments when there are people I really admire. And I tell them, like, but I'm not like one of those fan people, oh, can I have your autograph? No.
No. I couldn't do
never.
it.
And Al Bernstein was such a delight to work with because at first, like, we were in Vegas. And since he lives there, I was so stressed out, like preparing. And the people that I'm going to be hosting and helping induct are legends. Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, Bobby.
Exactly.
I was just like, and just learning about them. I was in the library every day for hours. I would get there like 12 till whatever time they close, 8,
right.
9. I'd shut it down and I would print out. I had to go to the library because I'm like, I can't use all my ink and paper. That's expensive.
Not at all.
So it was like stacks. And I remember some people were saying, you're doing too much. I go, no, you never over prepare.
You never, exactly.
Never. And, but that was one of the biggest moments in my career because to be asked, you can't apply for it. They ask you. And I remember I was in the green room before the induction, and I was like, oh my God. And they're like, Al, come here, let's talk. And he's like, are you all right? I go, I'm just really nervous. And he's like, come, let's go get a drink. I go, really? And so he's having a drink and I'm having my vodka. And I was like, okay. And I was holding my cards. You'll always see me with a notebook and a pen all the time. I write everything down. I don't do it on my phone because anything can happen. My phone can die, can get stolen. Notebook, you can lose it, but at least you remember writing it.
Exactly.
And I go, you have cards? He's like, of course, that's how you learn. I go, everyone makes fun of me because I always have cards. And he goes like, no, always it. And it's just, you know, those little things are little lessons that you learn. Just, you know, and it's not like, and I didn't ask him, you know, do you have cards? I just saw it and he saw me holding it. And, you know, it was just like, and he goes, I go, if you can give me one advice for this, what can it be? He's like, if things are not going wrong, then we're doing something right. And I said, oh my God. And it made me laugh. And he's like, don't worry, Cyn, it's going to be fine. And I go, okay. So it was an incredible moment just to share the stage with all the people, all the legends coming up, just being honored. Even Floyd Mayweather Sr. And Jr. I mean, there's a picture. There's only like one picture. I'm sitting in the background and I'm like crying, like when Mayweather Jr. was talking about Senior, and Senior was sitting like towards the back. No one could see him, and I'm sitting like on the stage behind Junior. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know what Junior was going to say the entire time. But Floyd, and the way he spoke about his dad was like a son. He wasn't Money Mayweather. He wasn't flashy. He was like, I'm here to talk about my dad. I love my dad. I loved running with him 5 a.m. He would run miles and I just wanted to hang out with him. And it was like, those are the stories that you didn't know. And Floyd Senior was like crying back there. I was like, oh my God, this is so sad. But, you know,
And then you got people sitting by, hey, suck it up. Suck it up.
Yeah, and I was just like, stop it. But I remember he's like, I'm not going to talk too long because it was long. People were giving like their life speech. And I'm thinking, we need music to be like, like the Oscars.
Right.
But I go, you know what? I got to give them their moments. And, but it was, the longer it goes, the longer everyone stays. And we're just like, oh my God.
Exactly.
But it was great. I learned from Al, and so now it's he has his own podcast, which I'm so proud of. And he's one guy that I really want to get on my podcast because he sings. I don't know if you know, he's a singer.
Yes, I did. I when I read about it, because I interviewed him, and when they had the CBS card here in Chicago for Mike Lee.
Oh yeah.
That was that card there. So many things, but
I like Mike Lee. I mean, man, that hurt. Caleb Plant.
I'm saying.
You know what? To each other, they were both good. I mean, they both had their career, and Caleb Plant's champion, and Mike Lee, he's the champion. He's champion in and out of the ring, and he's doing great things. He's
exactly.
He's a speaker.
So that's why I knew about him singing. So speaking of that, okay, so you've gotten Bob. We got Big Shot Bob. You was able to get him. Okay, cool. Check. That's a notch. That's a big notch.
Yeah.
Who will be next for you? Who? Not saying who you're gonna come out with this. Like, who's that next mega?
Oh,
project?
I have people in mind, and
that's what I'm
I never
about.
say This is the thing about me when people always ask who are you gonna do, and I mean everyone's like texting me, like PR people like Sin, who are you gonna do? Like, we want to know. I go, I'll find out when I drop it. And they just like and my audio series has been in the works. Like, I recorded it like maybe a month and a half ago, but a lot of things happened. And so I had to postpone it. That's why I did Sean Oakman, because it was supposed to be audio series, regular podcast, audio series, podcast. But now it's just whatever I can push out. And, but people are like, we want to hear the next one. And it's, I look at the list, and there's some names that I didn't even think of. And I'm like, well, I only know them for that. And then, but people will be like, oh, you didn't know about this, did you? And I'm like, no way. No way. And so I'll like look at them like, no way. Are you serious? And I'm just like, I have to still reach out to them, because sometimes they might not want to talk about it. That's part of their past, and which I respect. But there are some people, and then even yesterday I was stretching after working out, and then it just came on me. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about that person. So it's like I have a running list. And like even boxers will like reach out, can I be on your podcast? I go, it's not like that. I go, it's not like, we're not going to talk about your next fight. I go, there's a story that I have to be able to be like, it has to resonate with me and say, that's a story I want to tell right now. Not to say that they don't have a story, but the ones that are just like, whoa. That's why it's called The Real Fight with Cynthia Conte. It's just, you share your real fight. You spill the tea with me. You're going to gossip. You're going to, just like in the intro, I said, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, and you're going to say, ooh, because you're just sitting like, oh. So it's things like that. But it's hard. Everyone's like, start just do 2 or 3, 2 week. I go, no, it's not that easy, because the preparation is next level. I'm like, it's next level.
It's like, I don't know what you think this is, but
yeah. And so I'm like, I'm not going to talk to boxers like your next fight, because that's like technically a mythical matchup, because we don't know.
We don't know when you coming back to fight for real.
But and it just tends to be a lot of the people that I've interviewed the audio series are older, but because they have history. And then my second podcast was Arash Markazi. I don't know if you heard that one.
No, I haven't. He's
a well-known writer, sports writer. He worked for ESPN. He's worked for several people, and he works for LA Times. But his story is like, I mean, I've seen him when I started. He was bigger, and I was like, okay, he lost 100 pounds in a year.
Oh,
and
wow.
You have to hear it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was like, oh, congratulations. And Arash is like, huh? And he was like, kind of interviewing Arash when it was supposed to be the other way around for Predator, the new Predator movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to feature you in Muscle and Fitness magazine. He sure did.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And Arash, it was like, he just started walking on the treadmill. He made himself accountable online on social media. He's like, walk with me. And he's like on day, 400 maybe every day. And people now have started like sending in, it's like, I'm walking like because of you. He's not doing anything crazy. He just makes like 30 minutes out of his day or 45 minutes and just walks on the treadmill or does something. And, but I mean, that's not even the story. Like he's beat cancer, not once, twice before, and he just turned 40. And he had the stories of, like stories that no one really knew, like ESPN couldn't run it, but he told me the Playboy Mansion and all like athletes, his interview with Kobe Bryant, his final one. And he had a very special like connection with Kobe. So he really talks about that. And it's good. It's, you know, I just happen to know him from boxing, but he has such an incredible story that people are like, at the 15 minute mark, people will text me like, I didn't know that about Arash. I go, right? It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's like, now you're in the same boat as I am, because I just found out myself. You know what I'm saying? But keep listening.
Yeah.
Keep listening.
And it's good. And it's just, it's, you know, it makes me proud of what I do because people's stories just need to be heard. And I want people to tell them to me. And so I can convey it to my audience and, you know, just know that people care and that you're not alone.
Exactly.
I think we need to have a house meeting, y'all.
All right. AOTS, Art of the Signs, the realest boxing podcast in these internet streets.
Boxing? I want to see somebody knock that motherfucker's head off.
The realest, Justin Adams, bringing you that real boxing news, analysis, breakdowns, previews.
Hey, yo, shut the up.
Come hold it down with the realest every Friday. Google and Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud.
I mean, really, man, we could just you up.
Fine. I guess I'll go.
So I say this to say this then. For 2020, what is it? Well, let's say boxing does come back in a bigger way, right? What is the fight besides Lopez and Loma that you want to see happen?
Well, I would love to see Errol Spence and Crawford, but
yeah, right.
That's a mythical matchup right there for years. But eventually, I would like to see, if it were to happen, what is that called? Joshua Fury.
Understand?
I mean, at this point, the borders are shut, so there is no fight with Wilder as of right now. I don't know if it's true he took step aside money. I don't know. But if no one can travel, the Brits may as well fight. They have the belts. What's the holdup? Just do it. I mean, if Deontay,
you know people are gonna watch. You know you're gonna overcharge.
Hell yeah, I'll watch it. And people have always asked me. I go, you know what? I know Deontay deserves a third fight. Like, it's contractual. But in these times,
is that really gonna happen?
Yeah, and I mean, there's not.
I don't think, because Loma hasn't even made it to the U.S. yet, has he?
They said he has a green card for June. So I believe that if you have, if it's for work purposes, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It up. I don't know. But you never know. God forbid we get shut down again.
Exactly. Especially with these waves, these next waves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Cynthia. It's a lot, man. It's you know, you're able to get into this sport, you fall in love with it quickly, and it's like you get to do these things that now have induces passion from you. Yeah. How now? Like, okay, so now with it being just about the podcast and audio series, like, what else keeps you busy? Like, you were talking about, you like the other sports. What is your sport?
Football.
Football? Oh, man. Oh, no. Well, for me, it's hard. I mean,
Tampa now has Tom and Gronk. But I go, you know what? I forgot who our quarterback. I forgot the name already. Is it no?
Jared Stidham?
Yeah. So, you know, and Sean Oakman said it best. he said, you know what, they have a system over there. I mean, if he were to be signed by an NFL team, he would love to be signed by Patriots. Because he's like, he respects Bill, and he's like, they can just kind of put anyone, not saying that talent doesn't have to play a factor, but it's just, he runs a tight ship, just plain and simple. But yeah, I love football, and I love all sports, you know, but I mainly watch football. I'm trying to learn soccer. Trying is the word. Trying. I never played soccer, so I just watch it. I'm like, okay, yeah, get the ball in the net. But I was so obsessed with World Cup. Like, I was one of those fans that would wake up in the middle of the night, all night, watching it and just having so much fun. But it was just the energy, and just being at a bar or a pub or even watching it at home. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, we don't have this. Like, this is not normal in the States. And that's a world sport. But I wish, you know, that and baseball is like when you're there.
I feel you. I think for me, baseball is my one, you know, and then for me, I am not supposed to like the Patriots. I'm from Houston originally, so I'm a Texans fan.
A Texan fan.
Yeah. So I'm still upset about losing DeAndre Hopkins, but you know, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. Wait, so are you a fan of the Bears or just Texans?
No, just the Texans.
You know, it's funny. There's a lot of people from Chicago that don't like the Bears. It's really weird to me.
Yeah, it is to me too. Now, for me, it sucks because, you know, with the Oilers leaving Houston and they, you know, went to Tennessee to become the Titans, I damn sure can't follow them, you know.
Why not?
Because they went to a whole other city and they left, like, you know, the story behind of how we lost the Oilers is bogus. Like, Buddy, like, it's like the city, they try to say the city didn't want to build a stadium just for the Oilers. And it was like, bro, we got the Astrodome. Like, we got the stadium. We got the epitome of stadiums. And you don't want to pay the money to help them, you know, renovate that space. It's like, he left. And it's like, he left because of the stadium? Like, it's ridiculous.
I do not have money in Texas. Oilers.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we are the boom. Like, if we're talking about a boom, we've had it. You know, we're a red state. You know, red states are not there. You don't have to talk about going broke for a red state. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. But it sucks how they left. But, you know, we got the Texans, you know, so I follow them, you know. And like I said, I'm still trying to get over the whole DeAndre Hopkins thing. You know, I still cry myself to sleep. But it's all good. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? What I'll say is this, though. You guys got the Chargers. You got the LA Chargers back.
Oh, man, it's all screwed up. Raiders went Vegas.
Right.
Chargers, we got the Rams back.
Right.
Took Chargers from up north. And it's kind of like, they were sort of originally ours, kind of, but now they build all these beautiful stadiums and they can't even use them yet. Like, Allegiant Stadium looks amazing. The Charger Stadium looks amazing as of right now, but the fans can't even,
baby.
Like,
that's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And so, and I'll leave you with this last question, and then, you know, we get to enjoy these times. Because I know right now the weather is lovely. Like, I just came from you know, we had a Juneteenth event going on down in Chicago. So they had that march going. So wrap that up. And, you know, we go, oh, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. It's like 92, 93 degrees. That's hot. But I come from a place where triple digits was the norm, you know, 101, 102. But
you guys are humid though, right? Chicago's humid?
Yeah, it's humid. Okay. It's not as humid as back home, but it's still there. You know, It's not as heavy. It's not as heavy as it should be. Or not say should be, but as heavy as you would think. Because I know when I moved out here, I was like, first of all, I hate the cold. I don't like anything snow.
Yeah. Boy, you live in Chicago.
Right.
Like ice.
Like, what are you doing?
I know. It's like, why did I move to Alaska? Because I hate the cold, you know?
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it's such a great place. It's such a great place.
You got the deep dish. You got good food there.
Yeah, but I don't know. Barbecue's garbage out here. Barbecue's not all that great. I'm a barbecue guy. Seafood is, which is funny, is it's more expensive out here. You know.
Really? Why?
Well, for one, coming from where I'm from, like that's all, you know,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
all.
you have the Gulf.
We have the
right
Gulf.
there.
They just have this lake, so they give you cod. And,
It's all
you know,
man-made. Seafood.
right, they got a little swimming hole that you can go in real quick. But
Oh, I've seen those. Those are crazy. Like, what are they doing?
and you see them having the time of their lives, and it's like, how?
That's some backyard weird. I thought it was fake, and I'm like, what are they? Aren't they scared? Like, and then they come out with these things. I'm like, what is that?
No, that's what they doing. So what do you enjoy? Do you have a particular diet you like, or do you talking about cooking? And you're like, I'm tired of cooking.
I love cooking and I love working out. I mean, it's you know, it's one of those things that it's sadly like I worked out more when we were able to leave the house. But I think since we're forced to be in the house and you're forced to only work out in the house or like outside, I guess because you know you're a creature of habit. Like, you know, you're gonna
your
go
home is your home.
do this thing. Yeah, you have a routine. But I do work out since I own gyms. But I own, you know, I have everything that I need here. The heavy bag, I have weights, I have bands on bands on bands.
Bands, baby.
I ordered a squat rack. But yeah, but that's like, you know, they thrive, man. The fitness industry made a lot of money off of us. I was like, how long? 3 months wait? I'm like, well, screw it. It will be fine.
I'll get some. You gotta get some.
Yeah, and then cooking. Yeah, pretty much. It's just, you know, I cooked for whenever I had the time, and it was like, okay, but now it's like every day. I can't really cook every day because that's a lot of food for me because it's just me. But it's been good. You know, I can't say I gained weight. I hope not. But no, it's not that I'm not as active. Like, I don't like to run on streets. I don't like to run on canvas. And so I just started running on sand again recently. But the beaches everything was closed. So you just had to go. I would walk around my neighborhood with like, it's called everyone laughs, my quarantine 1 o'clock walk. So,
oh no.
Yeah. And like, it's in my block, it's in my neighborhood. So people, they're like, I can't believe you just walk around with a wine glass. I go, don't you? Like, I'm not on the street. It's public, but I'm in my neighborhood. And they're like, don't they get mad? They're like, no, because we walk separate. And they're like, hi. I'm like, cheers.
Right, exactly.
And the day that I don't have it, I have a water bottle. They're like, well, where's your wine glass? I go, I know, right?
It's the vibes. It's the vibe. That's what it is. Yeah. You know, wine and water bottle, you give me two different vibes. I know what it is with the wine, and I know what it is with the water. You got to get it regardless.
Yeah.
So what's a personal goal of yours for let's just say for the end of the year? Like, any personal, professional, what is a goal that you want to achieve?
Oh, I mean, their personal goals is professional goals is obviously to get my podcast monetized, like, because it's so new and it's really hard because there's no money right now because there's no one's really working.
No one's really working.
So a lot of people are unemployed, sadly. But you know, and I know eventually we're gonna get to a place that we will hopefully bounce back from, because it's just, we have to. I really hope we do. And we all rally together. So I want to get that. And then some of the names that I want, I'm really hoping that they'll say yes and just, you know, let my work speak for itself and say, okay, you know what? I want to be on your podcast. And personal goals, I just, you know, it's just more within myself, like spiritually, just really take the time out to meditate more. And because I put a lot of that off. It was like, you know, when we always say we had no time because we're so busy. Now we have technically all the time in the world because we're just here. And but just really manage my time more, you know, because you kind of tend to be like, I just want to go to sleep. Or, you know, like everyone was waking up at like 11, 12, or they're like, there's no concept of time. And hopefully still fit in all my cam glam stuff. Like, I think I'm fine, but you know, we all live in pajamas and gym clothes, but
sweats are my best friend, you know?
Yeah. We always say it's like professional on top, party on the bottom.
Party on the bottom.
But like today I was like, I'm going to wear gym clothes. I go, you know, just even when I was doing interviews, I'm like, I can't just to put on makeup again. I was like, that's weird. I almost forgot how. And then when I had to put eyelashes on, I go, this is like, okay, this is.
I'm not dealing with this shit right now.
I was like, no, I can't anymore. And it makes you realize the things that you took for granted, just the little things, just getting my nails done. I got my hair done on Saturday, and it was the most invigorating thing ever. I'm like, oh my God.
You didn't know what to do with yourself. You know.
Yeah. And just eating at a bar, like at a restaurant. And like, even for me going to a grocery store, because it was just like, I was starting to talk to walls. And like, there's that meme that, I don't know if you saw it, he's toasting with his wine glass, the mirrors. He's like, cheers, cheers. I'm like, that was like me. It's like, you're crazy. But just to like talk to anyone at the grocery store, it's like, hi, how are you? And like with our masks, we're like, hi. It's just, we need that interaction, the human interaction. And I hope that those are my personal goals, is just really get more in touch and stay more in touch with who I am, and not lose that when we start getting back into the busy world. And don't forget, for me not to forget the things that I've learned during the time, because we can easily just be like, okay,
we're back. We're trying to get back to the routine that we were missing.
Back to the rat race. And it's like, oh wait, I forgot to breathe. Enjoy the moment, because the moment my dream job, the moment, it can always be taken away immediately.
Right.
So those are just like my little personal goals. And then of course, always just get in better shape. That's like a life goal for everybody.
Right. That's like the New Year's resolution every year. You know what I'm saying?
That's yeah. But those are pretty much, and just broaden into different sports. Like, I'm learning Spanish right now. Like,
oh, that's what's up.
I'm trying to learn, but it's still not conversational. It's like, I know the basics, but like redoing it, like it's the app Duolingo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's so I've been doing that, and so hopefully I can speak to boxers. Like, if they don't speak English, I'm like, I got it. I don't need a translator.
Right. Just start pushing people out the way. Just start pushing people out the way. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I got this.
I got it, because I can't speak it, and so you're limited. And translators sometimes don't translate what they're saying. It's like a whole
it's
you get mad at me. I don't know.
Hey, what's funny about it? It's like people truly think like translators, like, not to say translators are not doing an honest job, but it's like
it's hard.
Sometimes it's hard. Like, they're trying to, the dialects could be different. Just words that don't translate as well.
Yeah, and they have to make it into a cohesive sentence that sounds right. And
right.
I get it. I totally understand.
And then you have the, different people, different cultures have those different phrases, those different things that aren't meant to be translated into,
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that. But it's like, every time I picture someone learning a new language, I think of like the headphones, and they repeat after me, "Como estás? Como estás?" Exactly.
Like, even when I went to a Mexican restaurant, I go, "Can you speak to me in Spanish?" He's like, "I don't know Spanish." I'm like, "Oh my God. Well, then this is not gonna." And then so I'm like, "Okay, let me just order." He's like, "Then speak Spanish." I'm like, "Burrito." Like, it's just so. That's not, it's like, I need conversation. So I go, that's a really big personal goal. Like, I mean, I learned Spanish. It's just,
it's not where it's not comfortable where you could like just speak it to someone.
Oh, I'm like I'm like, I'm at beginning baby steps. But
we talking about just putting together phrases first.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, damn it, estoy, like, yo, and I'm like, I'm so confused now. And so
when you conjugate the conjugation.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm trying to remember back in high school. I'm like, okay, let's remember, but but I go, it keeps me busy, and it just, and I do headspace meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That's been really, really, that everyone needs to somehow just meditate, like, just really, like,
self-care is the best care.
It really is, and we all need it. And I have so much gratitude. Every morning I give gratitude and my affirmations. And so those are things I never really did, but now it's kind of like, at the end of this lifetime, like, what did our, I mean, it sounds so weird and it's going to get so spiritual, but it's like our souls are going to sit and think like, what did you learn in your lifetime? So your soul turns into something else in the whatever life it's going to be next. And I want to be proud of myself saying I did these things. Mm-hmm. I took care of myself. And in this time that we're living in, in a nightmare that we never thought we would live in.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously we didn't, come up in times like, oh, this is coming up now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, coronavirus, here it is. No, but it's one of those things where it does really put people, puts perspective in a lot of people. Like, I know what I need to do. This is the time for that. And I'm right there with you. It's like, self-care is the best care. You got to be able to, you got to be able to love yourself before you love anyone else. You got to be able, those are certain things. So, look, as I said at the beginning, I appreciate this. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. I love talking boxing and just like, and even like you, I didn't know that you interviewed this guy, like, and you just learned you're like, he Golden Gloves and you just thought he was a chiropractor.
Right.
So, I mean, and you never know. And I don't know. I mean, the only people I know from Chicago, obviously the fighters who fought out of there and when I interview and some of my friends, but it's always nice to know like who are doing their thing and, pushing to be the best that they can be in their profession and thrive. Like this is the time. You're going to find out this pandemic, you're going to really learn about yourself. You're going to learn about your family. You're going to learn who are your friends, who your real friends are.
Right.
And all the bullshit that was in your life is going to be gone. It's that all that negative stuff that was cluttered around, it's just going to naturally go away somehow.
It is not a better, and there's no better feeling. There's no better feeling.
It's like, it's just, it feels like this thing is lifted off your shoulders. And, the only thing you have to worry about is yourself. You don't have to worry about anyone else unless you have families to feed, but you don't have to worry about your friends, making sure that you go out with them and hanging out with them. If you want to talk to them,
here you go. You know what I'm saying? Give me a little bit of time. I just need a little bit of time. Yeah. We got a medium for it. But no, I mean, like I said, let's keep this line open. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Keep in touch in the future. I mean, I've only been to LA. I've not ever been myself to LA. Like I've never been. I got family out there. I actually have two cousins that are out there.
I'm telling you, once you come out here, you'd be like, I'm never going. Like right now, it's like 70. Like it's been 70 to 80s.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then we did have a heat wave of like, it was unbearable. 90s to 100, 100, and that's hot for LA.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can't go to a beach. It's like if you have a pool, like I bought a kiddie pool and I just like lay in there. I don't care. I'm like, I'm gonna.
With the wine.
Heck yeah.
That's how you do it.
I have the sprinklers on, my little kiddie pool, and I'm just chilling, reading a book. And I'm thinking, well, I'm home safely by myself.
I'm saying.
You have to do. So just make do with it. But you'll love LA. I guarantee you. You'll be like, I think I'm gonna move.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of boxing here.
I'll leave it up to you to tell me. But no, I was definitely we should keep this open. Other than that, what I'll do is I'll send you this after I get it all spiffified and everything. I'll send it to you, share it. I'm definitely going to be keeping a lookout for more of your episodes. I'm going to listen to the RMash when the reporter was not the writer one. I got to find out something to cook though. You know what I'm saying? I got to cook.
Me too. I'm like, ooh, gotta eat. And
exactly.
So, yeah. But good.
Exactly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. Let's keep it open. And other than that, though, enjoy the rest of your day and be safe out here.
You too, and happy Father's Day to you and your family. And you guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I mean, I don't have no kids, but.
Well, your dad.
I'm somebody's daddy.
Just enjoy the family if you hang out with them tomorrow. Socially.
Oh yeah. Properly, exactly. I got you. But now let's do this again another time. I'll holler at you.
Let me know. All right. Well, you take care. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night.
Thank you for listening to The Art of the Science.
You better start listening and stop playing.
We drop every Friday evening on iTunes and SoundCloud, so subscribe.
I don't care who he is, man. I don't care what he does, man.
You can follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Art of Sci Boxing. That's ARTOFSCI Boxing. Also, JA_the Realest. Appreciate you tuning in.
Appreciate the listen. Come back to join us.
Or catch us on our social medias.